You ready?
Yep. I'll take it.
Hold your applause until the end. Ready? Learn something new every day. Here we go. Would you believe I never took a lesson? But I'm going to in a very few moments. I'm going to take a juggling lesson from a most attractive young lady who is most accomplished at the art. As soon as we meet our accomplished panel here on To Tell the Truth.
Bill Cullen, Peggy Cass, Nipsey Russell, and Kitty Carlisle.
Yes, I did.
Bill Cullen and I have been friends for, I suppose, 25 years, and it just ended. As we came out and underneath the applause, Bill Cullen leans to me and whispers and says, and Fred Allen was funnier than you are, too.
We always get it. We always, yeah.
Ah, dear. Well, in any event, let us forge ahead and immediately meet my juggling teacher-to-be.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Judy Burgess.
Number 2.
My name is Judy Burgess.
Number 3.
My name is Judy Burgess.
I'll take any one of the three. But unfortunately, only one of them is Judy Burgess, and here is her sleight of hand story. I, Judy Burgess, am a juggler. I'm the first woman president of the celebrated International Jugglers Association. After attending classes in circus skills, I visited the State Circus School in Russia. While there, I had the opportunity of practicing with several Russian students. I perform simultaneous hand and foot juggling feats and have been known to foot juggle a cylinder while standing on my hand. I also exhibit my dazzling juggling artistry while hanging upside down from a trapeze. Just for kicks, I also spin lariats, do acrobatics, and ride the unicycle. Today, on To Tell the Truth, I will give an exhibition of my artistry as a juggler. Signed, Judy Burgess. And while the three Judys settle in, we'll settle a few bills and be right back to talk to you. We have three really delightful young ladies over here. They all say that their name is Judy Burgess, juggler extraordinaire. And let's start the question with Peggy Cass, please.
Hi. Number 3, name some famous jugglers.
That's a broad question.
Francis Brunn.
He's good.
Rudy Cardenas.
Yeah.
How many?
That's enough famous jugglers. I imagine that's all the famous jugglers. Number 1, how did you become a juggler?
Oh, well, I went to Sarasota High, where we have a circus.
Oh, yes.
And I started as a twirler, but there were too many.
So you went to juggling.
Right.
Number 2, are you from a juggling family?
Yes, I am.
Oh, your mother a juggler?
Yeah, both my parents were jugglers. They did a passing act. In fact, you may have seen them on International Showtime, which was quite a while ago, since the program's not
It wasn't
on.
before my time, but I never watched it. Number 3, who wrote the story, The Juggler of Notre Dame?
I think,
That's all right.
She was
What a
on the
rotten
verge,
thing to
and the
do.
buzzer rang, and we go to Nipsey Tucker.
Number 3, you say that Rudy Cardenas is a famous juggler. Do you know what country he comes from? Well, do you know what his famous trick was? The closing trick of his act. I worked a number of times with Rudy Cardenas.
I think he does top hats.
Right. Number 2, can you think of a comedian who was quite famous as a juggler, who started as a juggler and became...
Surely,
Who was that?
W.C. Fields.
Is there number 1, is there a contemporary TV personality who was a juggler in the beginning of his career? A host of a famous show?
Well, Johnny Carson can keep him up in the air.
Number 2. We'll debate that later.
Thank you, Nipsey Russell. We go to Kitty Carlisle.
Thank you. Number 3, do you come from Sarasota, too?
No,
Where do you come from?
New York City.
And how did you learn to juggle?
The man who I was later to marry taught me. number of years ago.
And you did marry him. I see. Number 2, when you went to the Russian circus school, what did you learn there?
Well, actually, I didn't learn that much about juggling. That is where I started, however, using the cylinder, using the foot juggling, and perfected that a little more because there are some very fine students.
Number 1, what is the most difficult act to do in juggling?
Oh, I think it would be the foot juggling.
Foot.
I think it's very, very hard. Requires a lot of muscle tone.
Thank you. Number 3, is it true that women can be just as good jugglers as men?
Oh,
Or
I
just
think
as well
so.
coordinated?
I think so.
Good.
particularly when it comes to juggling men. And we now go to Bill Cullen.
I have a question that is quite apart from juggling, number 3. If the man you were courting taught you how to juggle, when did he teach you? I mean, during what time of the day?
What kind of question?
No, I want to know what went on there. I mean, like he'd come to your house and he'd bring a bunch of oranges and you'd juggle around there?
No, it was a class. It was
Oh,
in the
it was a
afternoon.
class.
Yes.
See,
And later on, when you met him in the evening, juggling was not mentioned. Is that right?
It was mentioned.
Mentioned, but no more. I'll stay with number 3. Who was Professor Lamberti?
I think he was a juggler.
Do you have any idea of what Professor's Lamberti's act consisted of? I'll change numbers just for fun. Number 1, it was a very funny act. I saw it many times.
I believe he did a waiter juggling restaurant scene.
Thank you very kindly.
And that bell knocks the whole thing off. No more times for question. It's balloting time. Mark down your ballots. Who do you think? Is it number 1? Or is it number 2? Or is it number 3? We still pay $50 for each wrong vote. We pay $500 if none of the votes is correct. And Peggy, have you marked your ballot, my dear?
oh, if I could only. I voted for number 1 because of his question about Professor Lamberti, but she was wrong.
Your friend Bill Cullen helped you out again. All right, we've got a 1 showing. And Nipsey Russell, what do you think?
Because she did know about Rudy Cardenas, and I guess he's the best-known contemporary juggler, and Francis Brune, from whom I saw in Ringling Brothers Circus. I went for number 3.
We got a 1 and a 3 and a Kitty Carlisle. What do you think?
I got taken in by your question.
Really, Professor Lamberti?
I thought Professor Lamberti did a waiter act.
He used to snatch the cloth out from under the dishes on the table.
Yeah.
Well,
Kitty vote? Okay.
Any event, we got 2 1s. But now, Bill Cullen, if you don't go along with this, you're going to be in bad trouble.
No,
We go to Bill Cullen.
I didn't make any comment about whether she was right or wrong. Do you want to know who Professor Lamberti is and what he did?
Yes.
He taught woodshop at South High School in Pittsburgh, and he never juggled anything in his life. As a matter of fact, he went to commit suicide and cut his nose. I voted for number 3 because that girl has all the juggling.
I was going to vote for 3.
You were going to vote for 3. There you go.
We got a pair of 3s and a pair of 1s. And
Now, number
oh, dear. The votes are in. Will the real Judy Burgess please stand up?
See you.
There you go. It's number 3. Judy, I'll be back to you for a lesson in a minute. Let's find out about number 1. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Linda Bond, and I'm the editor of a newsletter for Family Circle magazine.
Good to have you here. Number 2, you lucked out, but you're sure cute. What's your name? What do you do?
Thank you. I'm Gail McCarthy. I'm happily married and studying opera.
Oh, hey, good luck. Well, now, Judy, if you'll come out center stage. And this is kind of interesting because Judy has told me about this, and we're going to try it. I don't know how it's going to work out, but this is what happens when you go for instruction in juggling. Is that right?
That's right.
And you stand next to, you're the instructor. What do I do?
You put this hand behind your back if you're right-handed.
Oh, shucks. All right. It's back there.
We start with 1 ball.
Yeah?
And
What do we
hold
do
your
with it?
hand out.
Hold my hand out.
Right. You catch it and you throw it back.
Oh. Hey, look at us. Hey, big applause, please. Oh, look, watch your juggling act. What? We got 2 going here. Hey, watch us for juggling. That's great. We got 2.
That's great.
All right, that's
Stop.
fine. Stop.
You ready?
You got to be kidding. Who
No,
goes first?
I go first.
You go first? Okay.
Oh, good.
I'll get out of this darling young lady's way and let her go to work for you. Judy, you're on. Great to look like her on string. Oh, look, marvelous. Follow the bouncing ball. Oh, that's called a tax collector. She is good. Now, first we juggle the bar with the feet. And now upside down. If that doesn't look tough, remember she's pushing them up now. They're not falling down on her. Thank you very much. Thank you, and Plasky, very much for being here. Is she cute? Well, now, from the art of juggling to some really fascinating stuff, the secrets of the pyramids, right here on To Tell the Truth in just about 122 seconds.
Would you do this to a $1,000 leather sofa? Ouch! Of course not. But accident...
Boy, I got in my hand here a book that I got to steal after this show is over. I tell you, this is called The Secrets of the Great Pyramid, and it's just loaded with all kinds of fascinating information and illustrations. And the author of this most impressive volume is standing right behind our curtains, and let us say hello to him right now.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name's Peter Tompkins.
Number 2.
My name is Peter Tompkins.
Number 3.
My name is Peter Tompkins.
They're giving away nothing, are they? All right, only one of them is Peter Tompkins, and here's the story. I, Peter Tompkins, have long been fascinated with the mystery of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. In my new book, Secrets of the Great Pyramid, I tackle questions that have never been solved. For instance, who built this last remaining landmark of the 7 wonders of the ancient world? When was it built? Why was it built? Modern-day Egyptologists are discovering that the ancients who constructed the Great Pyramid were capable of extremely sophisticated scientific thought, and that indeed the Great Pyramid is a scale model of the Northern Hemisphere, used not only as a celestial observatory, but also as a huge repository for an ancient system of weights and measures. When all these mysteries are finally solved, 20th century man may discover that the early Egyptians boasted a culture embodying many of the theories and concepts that we now assume to be modern discoveries. Signed, Peter Tompkins. And we'll start the questioning, please, with Nipsey Russell.
Wow. Number 2, what kind of mortar or cement or what mixture holds the stones of the pyramids in place?
They don't know.
Number 3, do you know?
No, it's not known.
Number 1?
That's not known, no.
Number 2, where did those stones come from? There are no stone formations in that segment of the desert where the pyramids and the Sphinx are built.
They came from across the Nile, the limestone.
Number 3, can you tell me how they got them there?
No, I can't.
Number 1, can you tell me who's entombed in the pyramid?
No one.
They all moved out.
No, they all... Number 3, can you tell me what the temperature is in the bottommost catacombs of that Egyptian tomb that maintains mummies that...
Well, I'll argue about the mummies, but the temperature is about 68 degrees now that the air holes have been reopened.
I see. All right.
Thank you, Nipsey, and we go to Kitty.
Well, number 2, is it a popular misconception then that the pyramids were tombs for the kings?
Well, they may have buried them there, but that's not their purpose.
Oh, well, number 3, what was their purpose?
Well, their purpose was to demonstrate or to be a repository of celestial and geographic and mathematical knowledge.
I see. Number one, is it then possible that the Egyptians were great explorers, that they knew what the northern hemisphere looked like?
It's possible.
I mean, number two, does this have anything to do with Heyerdahl and his papyrus boat to show that they might have gone all over?
Well, they might have gone all over, yes.
Do you believe they did?
I think so.
You do. Number three, what was the system of weights and measures that we don't know about?
It's not so much a system of weights and measures that we don't know about. It's simply that they deduced or they formulated systems of weights and measures based on celestial observation of the Earth's geography.
Well, number two, did they have telescopes and things?
The pyramid itself is a telescope.
In other words, in the clear air of the desert, they could see things.
And that Buster takes us on down to Bill.
Number one, there is another ancient structure, I'll call it that, which supposedly was built for purely scientific purposes. It is not in Egypt. It is, however, in Europe. Can you tell me what that other ancient structure was? Theory,
Well,
yes.
There are a number of ancient structures that were built in Europe, all over Europe, that...
This one had to do with astronomy, particularly. Number three, do you want to take a crack at that
Well,
one?
one could be Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Number two, the three pyramids are built within sight of each other. Am I correct there?
Yes.
Is there any relationship to their placement as one is placed to the other?
Yes.
Would you care to go on? Number three, may I ask you, what is that relationship?
Well, the relationship has to do with integrals of the meridians of the Earth.
Number one, were they so placed, the three of them, so that a particular thing could be located?
Yes, they're geodetic placements.
Geodetic placements, he said, and Peggy we go.
But number three, how many centuries took place between the building of these three pyramids?
That's not precisely known.
Well, I mean, was it like a century or maybe just 5 years? Because the guy who built the first one didn't know the next two were going to be lined up like that, did he?
No, probably not.
Well, then how did it happen?
Well, the guy who built the second one took care of that.
And then the third one thought, gee, look what he did, and he did it, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, number one, what's the name of that tomb they opened that was so beautiful, and as the man looked, everything turned to dust? Or was that in a movie?
King Tut, is that who you're thinking of?
I guess that is.
I don't know, but I think
Didn't
that
everything
happened.
disintegrate? It did, didn't it? Number one?
Yes, it did.
Oh, okay. Number two, is there any relationship between the Mayan pyramids in Yucatan and the pyramids of Egypt? Because they look a little bit alike, except one's got steps.
Well, I think there is, yes.
Well, then you do really, in fact, agree with that Heyerdahl theory.
Yes.
Oh, you sure are talky.
There isn't enough tongue amongst the three of them for one cat over there. All right, based on what we've learned, we'll mark our ballots and we'll decide whether it's number one or number two or number three, and it's $50 down for each wrong vote as usual, $500 if they all tumble, and Nipsey starts.
Well, because he was very much like the Sphinx, who had very little to say, I took number one.
All right, we have a number one showing, and Kitty?
Well, either we are very silly and didn't elicit the right kind of information, or those fellas are real cagey, and we didn't get much information, but I voted for number three.
And down to Bill Cullen, please.
It's amazing. If I had to cast someone as being an expert on a pyramid, I sure would pick two. He looks like a pyramid expert.
Yes.
And
So you're voting for number two?
No.
No.
No, the person who really knew and really gave us a lot of information about pyramids was number three.
Right. So you're voting for number three?
No.
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 No. Would you care to tell us who you are voting for?
Number one sat there like a guy who knew a lot about pyramids, and much like Cheops, or however you said it, it was
Chops.
going to his grave. Chops?
How do I know?
You mean
So
like
who
lamb?
did you vote for? Because we're going to need a new clock.
Oh, well, I didn't vote because I forgot to register. No, I voted for number one.
And we have two ones and a three and a pig.
I've seen him in a million movies opening up pyramids, too.
He looks like an old pyramid opener, does he? All right, the votes are all in. Will the real Peter Tompkins please stand up, sir? There. Thank you, Mr. Tompkins. For all the wrong reasons, Peggy got it right. Let's find out. Number one, sir, with two wrong votes, what is your real name? What do you do?
My name's Todd Potash, and I'm manager of public relations for Ketchum, McLeod and Grove, which is an advertising and public relations agency.
Good one.
Now we can talk.
And number 3 with your integrated meridians or whatever there. And what is your real name? What do you do?
My name is Tom Rumler, and I'm a fashion photographer.
Good to have you here.
Say, Gary.
Yeah. Yes, Nips.
The stones of the pyramids are not held together by anything except their sheer weight.
No, there is mortar.
Thank you.
You forget to read anymore. Number 2, sir. Really
It is, they are held together by mortar.
Well, you
And what is the nature of that mortar?
They don't know.
Elmer.
Well, all the information I ever read about it says that Elmer's.
Most of the information you will have read about it is wrong.
Peter Thompson.
By what authority?
We're going to have to break this up. This is like Buckley and... Thank you very much. Well, friends, much to our sorrow, the party is over, for today at least. We're going to foregather tomorrow with our little whistles and our little paper hats, and we'll see you then. Everybody.
Transportation and other consideration provided by Pan American World Airways, featuring theater in the air, international flight food service, tours on tape, and weather insurance. All new from the world's most experienced airline. Our central carriers today will receive Angelette pillows, comfortable and buoyant with continuous filament fiber fill. You can machine wash and dry, won't matter lump. Non-allergenic too, the Angelette Pillow by Purify. Prizes or product mentions were furnished and or paid for by the manufacturers or supplier of the products or services identified on this program. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
The occupational hazards with Larry Blyden and What's My Line next. Then get a look at Married Life with Bob Eubanks and the Newlywed Game, only on Game Show Network. It's time to register to play our live interactive game shows. Call 800-537-GAME now. It's fast, it's fun, and it's free. You only need to register once to play forever on Game Show Network.